Good morning, everybody. Let's let people get in here in the chat or start going, and then we will start the update. Good morning. Hello, Bobby. Hello, Rod. Ashley. Good morning, everybody. We'll give it just about another 30 seconds, about 30 seconds here, and then we'll start the update. Good morning, everybody. Yeah, Bradenton, you need to evacuate. Good morning. Good morning. Okay, we're a minute in. Here we go. So, National Hurricane Center at 11 a.m. advisory has now brought will be the dangerous Category 3, possibly Category 4 hurricane approaching the west coast of Florida as we get into Wednesday. The latest track is much closer to the coast now, which we anticipated, been talking about for a couple of days now. So Hurricane 3 winds 120, gusts to 150. This is 8 p.m. Wednesday. It's about 70 miles, 50 to 70 miles off the coast on the current track. That's obviously going to bring an extremely dangerous storm surge into Sarasota as well as Tampa Bay. And it goes just about 20 miles off the coast to St. Pete. One of the more alarming things that we're seeing on data is that you heard a lot about the Euro and the GFS, and Euro's been in this general area of Tampa Bay. So one of the models we also look at, it's one of the tropical models, Herman and the H-Wharf, and the Herman started shifting east on the overnight runs last night. And the most concerning part of this is that the Herman model from the midnight run is now, it's doubling down. And basically, it's got 940 pressure. It thinks it's around 940 and winds 129 knots. This is a 10-meter wind. So basically, it's a Cat 4, okay, on its approach, and that's going to be Wednesday morning. So you're going to have as it's approaching Tampa Bay, you're going to have offshore flow, out of the northeast to east as it's approaching, and you're going to have big, large battering waves coming in early Wednesday morning into Fort Myers, Sanibel Island down here. You're going to have onshore flow punching in on the southeast side of the hurricane coming up. It's going to be large battering waves and storm surge. It's going to start very early Wednesday morning down south here, besides torrential rainfall, those kind of things. So we're going to have tropical storm force winds starting Monday afternoon, tropical storm force winds starting late Monday, and then into Tuesday morning early and overnight. We're going to start having hurricane force winds south coming north. So the most concerning thing right now is we're going to focus on the Tampa Bay area, and the Herman model, 940, 121 knots, basically a Category 4 to a high 3, and it keeps that 940 intensity as it's approaching St. Pete, just near Clearwater, right? As we get into, this is 21Z Monday, excuse me, 21Z Wednesday. Apologize about that. So 940 pressure, almost 130 knots at 10 meters. And then I make landfall there just northwest side of Tampa Bay. Okay, this is one model. It's not gospel. This is exactly going to happen this way. But what I'm trying to show you is the seriousness of what is potentially going to be a absolute catastrophic event. Is all signs point that we're going to have a catastrophic event from Tampa Bay southward to north of Fort Myers is going to unfold. It's Wednesday. The new data this morning is even more ominous, more dangerous. So basically, the biggest issue is going to be not only the storm surge and the wind and the cost. You have to remember, this area hasn't been hit with a hurricane in many years. We had during Irma, we had gusts of like 75, 80. So there's a lot of trees and debris, a lot of modular homes, heavy on the west coast here, within miles of the coastline. So you're going to have a storm surge. The storm surge numbers are going to skyrocket in Tampa Bay on the new data. I don't have it yet. It's not out; it'll be out soon. But the behind the scenes people are telling me that they would not be surprised based on additional data that's yet to come in from the Hurricane Hunter as well as the Gulf Stream doing the drop zones ahead of the system. As the data comes in this afternoon, we'll see how it plays into the updated models from 12Z and 18Z. But I wouldn't be surprised if we don't see on the 5 o'clock advisory, instead of being up to the northwest of Tampa Bay, if we don't actually see it more right in the Tampa Bay area, right? Like maybe right into Tampa Bay or just south. So on the 5 o'clock advisory, people I'm talking to behind the scenes that are in the know, that we're probably high likely we're going to see a 3 or Cat 4 right here on the 5 o'clock advisory, much closer to Tampa Bay, maybe 10 or 15 miles off the coast on the 5 o'clock advisory. That's what I'm being told internally from my sources. So basically the bottom line is you're going to have a catastrophic event. You're going to have anywhere from 15 to 30 inches of rain, covering 12 to 15 on the East Coast, 20 to 30 inches of rain, Orlando up the I-4 corridor, Tampa, Sarasota, 20 to 30 inches as this hurricane comes in, whether it stalls north of Tampa, northeast of Tampa, south of Tampa. As our hurricane comes in, it slows way down, and then you're going to have tremendous what we just call freshwater flooding. If you get 15 to 25 inches of rain over the Tampa area and eastward, right, and you're going to have 15 to 25 on some of the latest data. Just, this is the core, the dramatic, super heavy rain, freshwater flooding from the hurricane. And then you have the onshore flow, which is going to be the area of the damage, right, of the stuff here. So as the hurricane approaches, you're going to have this tremendous onshore storm surge, right? And especially if the hurricane makes a direct landfall, comes in, then the right side aisle will be parallel, or will be 90 degrees to the coast, and that's when the storm surge will be even worse, right? Versus the hurricane going up the coast and doing more of a approach like this. That's fine, but you're going to have you're even going to have a worse problem and worse conditions on storm surge. Right now the forecast is something like this, right? So you're going to get storm surge into this bay, right? So I expect downtown Tampa, based on current projections, I expect all the outer roads, all the areas around Tampa Bay are going to go underwater, and maybe up to 10 to 15 feet underwater. This is the interstates, the on-ramp, exit ramps, the downtown Tampa. I expect water in the backside of the bay. I expect right now, based on what I know this minute, I expect the flooding to happen in downtown Tampa. You're going to see a mass evacuation of downtown Tampa starting this afternoon. And the message is going to come out sometime today that this is a much more dire situation that's developing in the last hour. So I think the message is going to ramp up of just mass evacuations. This whole area, Clearwater, Pinellas County, all the way up north here, this whole area here is going to be inundated with not only storm surge, but also in water. So we're going to have a mass evacuation. And right now, I think we're looking at a catastrophic event as looks likely now in the Tampa Bay area is going to unfold, right? This is what it's starting to look like. Unfortunately, for this area, this is what we're getting dealt with, right? So again, you're going to have a freshwater problem over a big chunk of Florida, right? So it's not just storm surge and the winds here. And then, by the way, the wind fields, you have tropical storm force winds across the state, hurricane force winds, maybe as far inland as Orlando. So this is going to be a widespread damaging event. Power outages will probably be in the millions, and I'd say if the hurricane makes landfall and comes on shore, and doesn't say offshore, if the hurricane comes full bore onshore and makes a landfall, then the core area, that 20-30 mile circle where the eye is, if it comes completely onshore, I could look for power outages to be maybe up to a month or two, right? If the eye comes completely onshore and you have a Cat 4 or high end Cat 3 type winds over a very densely populated area, you're talking catastrophic damage. We're talking the Andrew, Katrina type event about to unfold, right? Based on the data I'm seeing now, that is where we're going quickly, right? On the data I have this hour. It could change, it could go back, it could, go back to the northwest, it could come back out here and maybe keep the worst out of Tampa Bay. But based on the data I have now, I think Tampa Bay and also Sarasota and Fort Myers, I think you're about ready to have the worst hurricane event in Florida history is about to unfold. I'm gonna say that again. The Florida West Coast is about to have the worst hurricane event in Florida history. Okay, so you got to get ready. If you got parents, kids, relatives on the West Coast, from Fort Myers northward, all the way along the West Coast, even inland, 20, 30 miles, they got to evacuate. You've got to get out of town. You got to get on the road, get your stuff, go up into Georgia, get away from the hurricane. Don't even go south. You're going to have flooding rains down in the southern part of the state as well. You got to get out of town, right? You got to call your family. You got to load up. I would get on the road today. Don't wait till tomorrow. It's coming. This hurricane is coming, right? So anyway, I would get all off the coast, all the roads here. Let's just look at this here. Let's go to Google Maps. I'm going to do something kind of unfiltered here, and didn't plan on doing this, but anyway, I'm going to show you something here. It's talked about Tampa Bay and all the roads. There's so many roads to talk about here, right? So we got Highway 4. You've got, let me turn off the road access here. Let me turn this off. I don't want traffic right now. That'll be barren later, very important later. But all these are coastal roads, Clearwater Beach area, all these roads in here, you're going to go underwater, right? All these roads, the interstates, the on-ramp, and the on-ramps 275, when you come off these exit ramps and you're dropping down an elevation here, over here in eastern Pinellas County, this is going to be underwater. If you get a Cat 1 or higher storm surge, Cat 3, the water's going to be 8 to 10 feet deep here over Pinellas County. Downtown Tampa, this is going to be anywhere from 5, it could be upwards of 10 to 15 feet underwater. This is all going to flood based on the latest data. This is the storm surge. We're talking about Cat 3 storm surge back in this back bay. Downtown Tampa is going to flood. Most of these roads are going to be underwater, right? Highway 6 is going to go underwater with just a Cat 1, right? It's going to go underwater. 19 is going to go underwater. All these roads here, Key Largo, Seminole, all these outer coastal waters are going to be 10 to 15 feet underwater, right? Guys, this is the most serious broadcast I've ever put out. This storm surge here, if the hurricane goes in south of you, if the hurricane comes in, the eye comes in south of Sarasota, down in this area, then you're going to have offshore flow, right? So we're going to watch the hurricane on radar, and if this hurricane current path and trajectory goes in just northwest of here, or if it goes into St. Petersburg, Largo, the storm surge, Sarasota, Fort Myers, Venice, all up and down the coast here will be extreme, right? Not only storm surge, but also 100+ mile-an-hour winds, right, are going to encompass this entire area here. So you have down trees, down power lines. You're going to have roofs coming off buildings. You're going to have mobile homes. You got, I'm seeing thousands of mobile homes all along the route here on 41. All these areas are going to have massive amount of damage, right? So that's what you got to get ready for. You're not going to want to be in this area after this hurricane. The power's likely to be out for weeks or possibly months, right? In the core damage area. If the hurricane makes landfall here, you're talking possibly months for power to come back, right? And there's going to be massive damage on top of that, right? Trees down by the millions, millions of homes damaged and businesses. This is probably, I don't have the data as far as the amount of real estate here and houses and buildings here, but we could be looking at $100 billion in damage or greater, right? That could unfold here. The damage number will be catastrophic. This is a catastrophic event that is now being forecasted for the west coast of Florida. You need to get out. This is life-threatening. Your life's going to depend on not staying in the flood zone areas, and you can't stay in the mobile homes. You've got to get out of those and get into secure shelters in these counties. Listen to your local emergency management, Pinellas County, all these counties along the west coast from Fort Myers all the way up north here, and inland as well, up toward the I-4 corridor. Listen to your local emergency management. Listen to the weather service. Listen to your local TV meteorologist. Whatever they're telling you, need to follow their orders, because this is getting worse as new data comes in. It's getting worse by the hour. I mean, it's getting much more. It's getting bad, guys. There's no other way to describe it. And I'm going to say this again. This is a Katrina, Andrew type catastrophe that's about ready to happen. I don't know how much more clear I can make it than this, right? Okay? Based on what I'm seeing right now, I'm telling you, it's going to be a bad one. It's going to be the worst hurricane in Tampa's history on all the data I have available on Monday at 11:30 and the current NHC forecast, right? And I think the 5 o'clock hour and later is going to be very sobering on the message from all government agencies, okay? So that's all I can tell you right now. I'm extremely busy scouting areas and talking to people and talking to emergency management along the coastline, and I'm swamped today, and so I won't have a lot of updates until after probably 5 o'clock, the new advisory. But anyway, take this extremely serious. This is a life-threatening hurricane in the Tampa Bay area, from flooding, inland flooding, as well as storm surge and extremely destructive winds. If we get the 100 plus 120 mile an hour winds on shore as a Cat 4, it's going to be catastrophic. Make no doubt about it. Okay, that's my dire message for Tampa Bay on Monday. Okay, that's it. That's a wrap. I wish everybody the best, and please heed the warnings.